up on this edition of ATV News.
My question is, does he have a good reason really to shut down the program?
We'll tell you why the deaf community is upset at a USU decision that could affect the whole state.
This policy can help address if more people embrace micromobility.
We'll show you what rewritten rules students say is overdue.
You may have heard the bad news from the Nevada game, but I'll show you some of the bright spots in sports.
We're finally starting to get some fresh powder. I'll let you know if more is coming and if it plans to stick around in weather. All that and more, this is ATV News. Cache Valley woke up to some fresh snow this morning. The quad was covered, but students still made the trek to class in the cold. We'll have more about that snow and weather. Welcome to this edition of ATV News. I'm Sarah Murphy.
And I'm Leah Krishoni. Last week we showed you the Dean of the College of Education suspended part of the deaf education program. JC Caldwell now shows us what the deaf community is doing to fight to keep it.
Nice to meet you. Hi Justin, Al Smith, pleasure to meet you.
A group of both students and deaf community members met with the College of Education Dean to speak out against the decision behind closed doors.
Hi Emma, how are you?
The department has two sides to deaf education. The bilingual bicultural, or bye-bye side, is the now former one that focused on American Sign Language.
There's already an issue with not having enough bilingual deaf educators in our country.
In the public announcement released by the dean, he said the reason was due to lack of accreditation. The accreditor then came out with a statement opposing the dean's claims and said the decision was made by USU and USU alone. The department administration then said the program had
Learned in our undergraduate ASL instruction that it wasn't being administered as we expected.
I mean, it's nice to know that the dean wants to be honest, but my question is, does he have a good reason really to shut down the program, and where, what was it that contributed to that decision? What is his real rationale behind it?
When attending the ASL club, they taught me how to sign my name. Similarly, the Bye Bye program allowed graduate students to become educators in sign language, but not only to teach people like me, but to teach deaf children how to communicate. And when speaking with both members of the deaf community and those students in the now former program, they both emphasized that even though it may not directly impact them now, it will have devastating long-term consequences, and they refuse to stop fighting.
And the deaf community is very upset because for the deaf community, the culture begins in deaf schools. Deaf schools are like their home base.
USU had the only bye-bye program in the state, leaving 8 deaf schools in Utah without a source for teachers.
That's my only pipeline, and we just cut it.
After the group's meeting, they said their voices were finally heard.
They did guarantee us that they would keep that communication open and let us know what's going on, and not just do their little, meetings under the radar, because the deaf community has always been left out of those conversations.
Ferguson said there's no timeline for when the program will return, but the group said they will hold the administration accountable.
If we had sat back and been silent, then it would not have worked. Nothing. There would have been a much more destructive outcome.
JC Caldwell, ATV News.
The suspension meant a change in majors for some students like Cole, but juniors and seniors are allowed to graduate in the program by spring 2023.
You can help the air in Logan thanks to the new micro-mobility policy. Currently, you'd be breaking policy by riding your electrical scooter on campus. Emma Fates joins us live on the quad to tell us about the changes.
Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, so I'm on the quad. I'm riding this unmotorized scooter, which I actually have to put in a little bit of effort to get where I want to go. Now, scooters like this one are okay to ride on campus, but Segways and other motorized vehicles currently aren't allowed under the campus policy. But Segways like this one, Utah State says, can be so much better for the environment, and they have gained so much popularity among students that USU is going to change the policy. The sky was cloudy with smog yesterday morning due to car emissions. UCLA studies say biking and the use of electric bikes can decrease 6 to 14 million tons of CO2 per year. One reason USU says they want to update the policy is to clear the air.
We deal with inversions, right? We deal with bad air, and we also know how difficult it is to find a parking space on campus. So congestion is going to be another issue that this policy can help address if more people embrace micromobility.
Now USU says the policy will take effect at the end of spring semester, and at that point they will encourage more students to ride vehicles like this one. Reporting live from the Quad, Emma Fates, ATV News.
Thanks, Emma. And in other news, Bear River Health Department is cleaning up their vaccine clinic on campus today for what USU says is the last time this semester. I went to the clinic to find out why they say it's the final one.
A little bit of pain.
That's it. I survived.
And then a whole lot of relief.
Look at my Band-Aid.
That's what some USU students are feeling after getting their COVID-19 vaccine.
I got 3 pokes and I'm now good. I passed. I feel like I've passed my test. We're good.
And you go right here in the second one.
Over 80 USU students lined up this morning to check in.
Hello.
Meet a nurse.
Sydney, that is a cute name.
And get the vaccine on what USU says is their last vaccination clinic of the semester.
That's why I did it today, is because I was like, you know, last day, maybe I should get it, and I'm comfortable with getting it.
It's kind of sad. I love giving vaccines, and I love just meeting a lot of people and interacting with everyone. So it is kind of sad, but it's been a good experience. I'm really grateful for it.
But with the pandemic still going on, some are wondering why they're stopping now.
I don't know why.
I'm not sure about that.
While school officials weren't available for an in-person interview, in email they said one reason is that vaccination rates are going up and the clinics are getting less busy. But the push to get the vaccine,
1, 2, 3. Okay, there you go.
Hasn't gone away.
Health experts say that the COVID-19 virus is sort of like a domino effect. If just one person has the vaccine, they say they have a greater chance to withstand the virus. That's why these experts are saying regardless of where you go, they're still encouraging people to get vaccinated.
It's kind of just like everyone needs to do their part. There's a domino effect because the more severe it is, the worse it is.
Bear River health workers say while this may be the last clinic at USU for the semester, there are other options of places in Cache Valley to get vaccinated. And with USU officials saying students' vaccination rates have gone up, COVID cases continue to go down at Utah State University. Let's take a look at the rest of the state. As of February 15th, the Utah Department of Health reports over 914,000 cases in Utah, more than 32,000 hospitalizations, and more than 4,000 deaths due to COVID. In the Bear River Health District, there have been more than 50,000 total cases, almost 2,000 hospitalizations, and 219 deaths. Utah State University updated case counts on February 14th. There were 397 active cases among students, staff, and faculty, which is down 170 cases from the week before. And this brought the average of new cases per week from a little over 51 cases to a little under 12 cases this week.
And in other news, what do you think about when you think of Valentine's Day? I wanted to find out the origin of love this holiday represents. Buying chocolate for our loved ones is a typical way to spend Valentine's Day. But where did this tradition start?
That too was a time of romanticism. And so it seemed only natural then that the people of the time got caught up just like today with the romanticism of Valentine's.
Heart decorations and romantic cards are what Valentine's Day is today, and it may have come from birds choosing their mates in mid-February in the Middle Ages. But 18th century English historians say Valentine's Day was most likely created to overpower the pagan holiday Lupercalia.
I think all those elements coming together brought about the romanticism that we now associate with Valentine's Day.
Saint Valentine is the patron saint of couples in love. He would marry couples before soldiers would go off to war. On February 14th, 269, Saint Valentine refused to renounce his Christian faith and was executed. Christians use this day as a feast day honoring Saint Valentine.
When he was eventually killed, he signed his last letter, Your Valentine, and so that's where the the term comes from.
My Very Gentle Valentine is the first line of the oldest known Valentine poem written in French by Charles, Duke of Orleans in 1415. Poems like this are still written today, and historians say they can connect us to the past.
All these connections come back to religion, as we understand in the Catholic Church, is just a very natural part of human existence.
Despite Valentine's Day originating from a Catholic saint, some Catholics say they didn't even know he existed.
Being like a Catholic, I didn't really know too much about St. Valentine, so it's good to get a perspective and get to know more about where this tradition has come from.
And you know what's super interesting to me, Leah, is in the story you see that Kristen talks about, despite being Catholic and growing up Catholic her whole life, she had no idea that Valentine's Day and Catholicism were related.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I also grew up Catholic and I didn't know about that until doing the story. So it's kind of fun to now associate Valentine's Day with religious stuff instead of just the traditional flowers and chocolate.
It'll be interesting next Valentine's Day to kind of view it now as a religious holiday instead of just an old regular one.
Yeah.
And moving on in other news, USU Student Association posted on their Instagram that runoff elections are canceled. Candidates received more than the 50% of votes needed to win this race, so no runoff elections will be held this week. Clara Alder won with just over 50% of votes for USUSA president. Abe Rodriguez earned more than 55% votes for USUSA executive vice president, and Ethan Conley had no rivals and won with 100% of votes for USUSA student advocate vice president. And the Student Association says they'll continue with elections for campus and college officers beginning February 28th. And coming up,
a really spiritual experience, being on top of a mountain and looking over the landscape.
Last week, we missed showing you how to get to new heights. So this week, we'll show you how to do it safely in the snow.
It reminds me of diluted apple cider vinegar.
We'll show you how to make syrup with a tree that might be in your own backyard.
And coming up in weather, Kayla Peterson will have the 7-day forecast. The current temperature is 33 degrees.
I'm one unlucky guy. The chance of being involved in a robbery is 1 in 757. The chances of being struck by lightning. 1 in 750,000.
Please fasten your seatbelts for unexpected turbulence.
The chances of being a victim in an airline crash? 1 in 29 million. Hey, could I get some peanuts? The chances of being involved in a car crash are far greater than lightning strikes and plane crashes. And if you are texting while driving, your risk of crash increases 23 times. Now, I may be an unlucky guy, but I don't have to be part of that statistic, and neither do you. Drive responsibly.
Yes, we got snow this morning, but campus is starting to look a little less white as the day goes by. Welcome to ATV Weather. I'm Kayla Peterson. Let's go ahead and jump into that national radar. As we can see here in the eastern part of the United States, there isn't very many storms, either on the western part. So where are all the storms? The rest of the country, especially here in Utah. So let's jump there and see what our state is like. As we can see, the storms we got are mostly here in the northern part of the state, moving down through the central and out towards Colorado. But as we can see, there are other storms coming our way, especially this one from Nevada. So, is the snow going to stick around? Let's see in that 7-day weather. As we can see today, snowstorms. And as the days go on and the weeks go by, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, it is supposed to warm up, especially here on Saturday with a high of 44 degrees. So the snow we got today might not stick around, but for all you snowboarders and skiers out there, don't you worry, because guess what? The snow is coming Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We have lots of chances of snow. So with the temperatures lowering on Monday and Tuesday, especially Tuesday with that low of 8 degrees, the snow might just stick and you can go boarding. You're all caught up in weather. Back to you at the desk, Leah.
Thanks, Kayla. With this new snow coming in this weekend, hikers say it is key to stay safe. Nathaniel Gillis met up with these hikers to find out how.
While most hikers can't wait for summer, Katie prefers the cold.
I'm not the biggest fan of summer hiking, like overall. I do like it, but overall, I'm not the biggest fan because it's too hot. I like winter hiking just because usually there's not as many people on the trails, and it's just a lot more comfortable for me as an Alaskan just to not be like super hot.
Well, some hikers might say all you need is a light jacket. Experienced hikers say make sure to bring some extra layers. And if you are going on a longer hike, make sure to bring some emergency material, such as an emergency blanket. And if you're also on those long hikes, make sure you bring something that can filter water. Ice is another common issue to look out for, but Aspen and Whiskey say it adds to the experience.
Going from summer to winter, like it's just like the hikes are completely different. Like there's the snow on the ground, so it makes it a little harder. You can do like the snowshoeing and stuff, and it's completely different. Like a hike like this looks nothing like it does in the summer when it's covered in snow, and I just think that's so cool. And it's not as hot, so that's also better.
Hikers say whether you want to see the wildlife, the beautiful views, or just enjoy nature, Logan Canyon has something for you in sunshine and snow. Nathaniel Gillis, ATV News.
Expert hikers also recommend checking weather before hiking to stay safe. You can do that online or through hiking apps.
Living in Cache Valley means you probably have a box elder tree close by at all times. And while you might not like the box elder bugs that come with the trees outside, Emma Faith shows us the sugary surprise inside.
Drill into a healthy box elder tree.
Snap up.
Hang your bucket off a spout. Wait a while and...
I'm not expecting a lot of flow today.
You'll get sap you can turn into syrup. The Nature Center in Logan Canyon taught this process to all ages.
This is our 7th year that we have done maple tapping here at Stokes Nature Center.
The workshop started inside.
You need 40 gallons of sap to make about 1 gallon of syrup.
Where future maple tappers learned where maple tapping comes from and which trees are okay to tap.
You want to make sure that you're tapping ethically and sustainably.
Then they headed outside for a demo.
Welcome everyone to Tree Tapping 101.
And a taste test.
People just get so excited you don't think about this as a possibility here in the West as something you usually think of as an East Coast thing.
We do a lot of maple tapping in Michigan too, and so it was really fun to watch someone on the other side of the country, learning about the same things that we teach at our nature center.
Maple tappers say if you don't actually have enough patience to make syrup out of a tapped tree like this one, you can also drink the sap straight from the tree or pour it on snow or ice to make taffy.
We don't realize the amount of work that goes into syrup. It takes an incredible amount of sap to actually make syrup.
Despite the hard work, tappers say they're happy they came.
I'm just glad that they actually have this because then people like me or other people can just explore different interests.
To Nature Center employees, this workshop showed the importance of community centers.
Nature centers are places where the community needs to go and get outside, and be active and healthy. And what we're seeing here in Logan as we interact with the community is that places like Stokes are vital.
Our mission is really just to get people outside, exploring nature and comfortable being outside. So it's really neat, especially to see people have these new experiences. I absolutely love it. That's what I love most about my job.
Emma Fates, ATV News.
The center says they plan to do workshops throughout all of Utah. They say the next one will be this Saturday in Carbon County. And was men's basketball able to bring home the win against the Wolfpack? Kainoa Johnson will show you in sports.
We'll show you why these Aggies were falling head over heels on Valentine's Day.
So how much longer do you think we're going to be studying for?
Probably another hour or so.
Okay.
What's up, Mark? What's up? How you doing? How are you? Good. What's good? You doing? Picking some stuff up?
Yeah, just get some stuff to make dinner for Rachel.
Oh man, that's why you're an awesome boyfriend. Thank you. See you later.
All right, see you.
Where have you been? Do you know how long I've been waiting? I don't care. What did you even get? You don't do anything right. Is that what I said? What are you good for? You're such an idiot. You know, you drive me crazy. I've been texting you, you don't respond to me. You make me talk to you this way. This isn't what I want. You do this. You're the dumb one. Why am I with you?
Body language. Without saying a word, it can tell you so much. Like someone is having a stroke. Know the sudden signs. Learn fast. F, face drooping. A, arm weakness. S, speech difficulty. T, time. Time to call 911 immediately. The sooner they get to the hospital, the sooner they'll get treatment. And that can make a remarkable difference in their recovery. Learn the body language, the sudden signs, and spot a stroke fast.
An all-out effort from Justin Bean takes him to the floor, but the crowd was floored just to see the Aggies take on Nevada. Welcome to ATV Sports. I'm Kainoa Johnson. Last Friday, men's basketball played Nevada at the Spectrum. The student section was greeted Nevada with a warm welcome, but the Wolfpack was ready to bring the heat. Starting us off, Idle Rock right here, pump fake, holds it for the three, sinks that. From Jones to Hamanda, he's gonna cut in, blast through, and puts that ball up to make the play. But he wasn't the only one ready to make plays. Here comes Horvath, eager to get that. Comes up, gets that, getting that layup, after layup, and you guessed it, after layup. Right here, coming up, we've got a pass from Ashworth. There he goes. Ooh, to Jones. Oh, a deep, out of nowhere, Bean. There he was to see it through. But Nevada came ready to play. Blackshear blitzed through, putting points on the scoreboard. They just kept up the pressure all game. Number 4, far out, right here. Here he goes. Jump shot. Nothing but net. Nevada was able to make this play for the 3. Ooh, just tips off the rim. But right here for the save, bam, Cambridge Jr. But the Aggies weren't done just yet. Bean from the corner right here. Ooh, it's up, and he makes the 3. Here we got another play. Jones to Horvath. It wasn't there. Goes back to Jones. He pushes in. It's back to Bean. He sinks it. Bairstow comes right here. He's going to run it up the court. Here he comes. Here he comes. Bounce pass to Horvath. And he slams it in. Let's run that one back one more time. He makes that pass. It's wide. Horvath makes the dunk. Though the Aggies put up a good fight, it just wasn't enough with a final score of 72-85. Sadly, they weren't able to secure the win, but they'll have a chance to redeem themselves this weekend against Boise State. The men weren't the only ones to take to the court last week. Women's basketball played Boise State last Saturday. Boise State started off strong against the Aggies, making that pass, putting it in off the glass. But we were able to keep our composure. Quezada, committing hard to the play, takes a spill, but makes the shot right here. Ooh, yeah, she's falling over. Ball's about to get passed around here. Ooh, up in the air, and it's an air ball. It gets passed around a little bit before Latone gets her chance at redemption there. Quezada's coming to come in here fast, pivots, spins, and puts it up for the layup. That was a good play right there. Harris comes in. She's going to step back to Stafford for the three. Nothing but net. Rendawa under pressure here, sees the pass to Quezada for a clean jump shot. If you blink, you'll miss it. Coming up here from Harris to Latone from the corner. Oop, it's up for the three. The Aggies kept up this pace, clearing this ball right here. It's going to come up all the way to Quezada. She's going to put her shoulder into it, and bam! Quezada right here again. She's going to see the opening to Harris, in for the three. Quezada's going to come have another chance here. Fake the defender, come in off the glass. Harris is going to have a great play right here. Going to pass it off to Latone. Comes back to her for that backwards layup. Boise State gave it their all to bring it back with this three-pointer from Ostley, but it just wasn't enough, unfortunately. Aggies pulled through with the win, leading 63-55.
Are you going to give him crap for that? Get the win and he...
Basketball wasn't the only highlight this weekend. Track and field wrapped up their indoor season in Albuquerque, New Mexico on Saturday. Brennan Benson managed to place second in the mile with a time of 4 minutes and 11 seconds. Overall, the Aggies got 13 top 5 finishes in the two-day meet. They'll be back in Albuquerque next weekend to compete in the Mountain West Indoor Championships. Women's tennis blew out Dixie State for the 4th consecutive time. They played in St. George last Friday and went undefeated in doubles and singles, winning overall 7-0. On Sunday, they were able to keep their win streak here in Logan against Weber State, winning 5-2. Men's tennis didn't have the same fortune, however. They played last Friday here in Logan and just barely lost to Gonzaga University 4-3. Now, you're all caught up in sports. Back to you at the desk, Leah.
Thanks, Kai. If you've ever been rock climbing before, you probably were attached to the wall by a rope. Annika Johns shows us how these Aggies spent their day of love with no strings attached.
On Valentine's Day, the ARC held its Love on the Rocks bouldering competition.
It's just like a super entry-level competition for people who like to get out and climb. The main objective of it is bouldering.
Climbers of all skill levels signed up to compete on different routes, each one set to a specific level of difficulty.
So each route is like a different point system, so like 400 points to like 800 I think was like the highest, and the lowest was like 50. So you just do whatever you can, and then they add that all together.
The competitors were given 1 minute to study the wall. Once that minute was up, they had 5 minutes to get as high as they could. Depending on what route they took and how high they got, determined the amount of points they got.
Each heat would climb all the routes that we had set up, and those who climbed the hardest routes, we then took them into semifinals, and then the best climbers from semifinals made it to finals routes.
Different from rock climbing, bouldering requires no protective gear. Climbers work with nothing but their shoes, some chalk, and their strength.
So with other forms of rock climbing, you'll traditionally have a rope. But with bouldering, you don't have a rope, but you're not climbing as high either. So you're really just using your skill to maneuver the way up the wall.
But with nothing tying them to the wall and only one direction left to go, they have a mat waiting to catch them at the bottom.
It's addictive. I love rock climbing.
Annika Johns, ATV News.
The ARC says they don't have plans for another competition, but they hope to host another one in future semesters. Thank you for joining us on this edition of ATV News.
You can find this and previous editions on our Facebook page.
We'll leave you with some more shots of the climbing competition.
Have a great week, Cache Valley.